Welcome to our Trump briefing show, folks. Today, we're diving into some hot international politics. First up, Mike Waltz is stepping into the spotlight as the new U.S. ambassador to the UN, promising to revitalize the organization and push for reforms. He's tackling issues like China's growing influence and antisemitism, all while facing questions over past security lapses. It's a crucial moment as the UN struggles with funding and internal challenges, so stay tuned. Next, let's talk climate. The Trump administration has pulled the plug on major climate change reports, limiting public access to vital data. NASA announced it won't host the authoritative assessments anymore, sparking criticism that this move is an attempt to censor scientific facts about climate impacts. The latest report highlights how vulnerable populations, especially Native Americans, are hit hardest by climate change, emphasizing the need for awareness. And finally, on the trade front, Prime Minister Mark Carney has hinted that any US-Canada trade deal might include tariffs. With Trump threatening to impose hefty tariffs on Canadian imports, negotiations are heating up. Carney's aiming for stability, even calling the current situation almost free trade, but tensions remain high. It's a tricky dance of diplomacy and economic strategy, so keep your eyes peeled. Please continue to watch for more detailed updates. The Toronto Star reports on Mike Waltz's Senate confirmation hearing, where he pledged to rejuvenate the United Nations, emphasizing its potential as a platform for global conflict resolution among major powers like China, Russia, and Europe. Waltz, a former Florida congressman, faced scrutiny over a past mistake involving adding a journalist to a sensitive military planning chat, yet he took responsibility and remained focused on his mission to reform the UN amidst ongoing U.S. funding cuts and criticisms of inefficiency. His vision aligns with Trump's America First policy, targeting China's influence and rooting out antisemitism within the international body, at a time when the UN struggles with financial instability and calls for reform from critics like John Bolton, who declared it the worst shape since its inception. Meanwhile, the same publication highlights the Trump administration's efforts to obscure climate science, with NASA announcing it would no longer host the major national climate assessments online, contradicting previous assurances that these vital reports would remain accessible to the public. Critics like John Holdren condemned this move as a deliberate effort to hide the realities of climate change, which the latest report shows is impacting every community across the U.S., disproportionately threatening minority groups such as Native Americans. The administration's actions are seen as a means to suppress scientific data about climate risks, undermining public awareness and policy responses to mounting environmental crises, fueling fears of governmental censorship and misinformation. Additionally, the Toronto Star covers Prime Minister Mark Carney's remarks on the likelihood of tariffs being part of any future US-Canada trade agreement, noting that negotiations are almost certain to include some form of tariffs. Trump's aggressive stance, exemplified by threats of a 35% tariff on Canadian imports, complicates efforts to reach a deal, with Carney aiming to stabilize relations amid the uncertainty. The situation underscores the fragile state of North American trade relations, with officials indicating that tariffs are becoming normalized, and Carney preparing for an emergency meeting with provincial leaders to address the escalating tensions before the annual Premier's gathering. South China Morning Post highlights a fascinating shift in Latin American public opinion, where the favorability towards China is gradually increasing, even as traditional allies like the United States remain dominant. Countries such as Mexico, Brazil, and Argentina are witnessing a notable rise in positive perceptions of China, with Mexico experiencing a jump from 61% to 67%. Interestingly, despite this growing admiration, the U.S. still retains its status as the region's primary economic partner, though many respondents now see China as a more significant economic power than the U.S., especially in Brazil and Argentina. This evolving landscape reflects regional ambivalence, where China's expanding economic influence is appreciated, yet the U.S. continues to be perceived as both a crucial ally and a threat, especially amid political instability and Trump's return to power. The survey suggests that regional views are complex, with some viewing China's investments as beneficial for jobs, while others worry about debt and political interference, revealing a nuanced perception shaped by economic and geopolitical factors. Nikkei Asia expands on the global perspective, showing that overall attitudes toward China have improved in many countries, with a median of 36% holding favorable views, up from 31% the previous year. Countries like France, Canada, and South Africa now see China more positively, and even in the US, confidence in China has increased slightly despite lingering mistrust. Interestingly, younger populations in countries such as Greece and Spain are more optimistic about China, possibly influenced by shifting perceptions of U.S. reliability under Trump's policies. Yet, the threat perception remains high across the Asia-Pacific, with most respondents viewing China as the greatest threat to their nations, except in Indonesia where the U.S. holds that distinction. Despite the cautious optimism, the survey underscores a global landscape where China's rising influence is recognized, but skepticism persists, especially regarding security and political interference, highlighting the complex dynamics of international perceptions amid ongoing geopolitical tensions. Associated Press reports a pivotal moment in Ukraine's political landscape, with Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal resigning amidst a tense wartime environment. President Zelensky's move to replace Shmyhal with Yulia Sviridenko, Ukraine's first female economy minister, signals a strategic government reshuffle aimed at strengthening ties with Western allies and bolstering defense and economic recovery efforts. This transition occurs against the backdrop of escalating Russian aggression, with increased drone and missile attacks on Ukrainian cities, intensifying the urgency for Western support. Zelensky emphasizes the importance of cementing U.S. backing, especially as Kyiv seeks to secure future military aid amid fears of potential U.S. political shifts. The proposed cabinet changes, including possible replacements for key diplomatic positions like the U.S. ambassador, reflect Ukraine's strategic efforts to maintain strong international support and adapt to the ongoing conflict, underscoring the critical interplay between domestic political shifts and the broader geopolitical struggle in Eastern Europe. The Independent reports on the tumultuous internal conflict within the Trump administration concerning the Epstein files, highlighting President Trump's visible frustration and the dramatic fallout among key officials. Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino, furious over the Justice Department's memo dismissing theories about Epstein's client list, threatened to resign unless Attorney General Pam Bondi was dismissed, leading to a heated confrontation with White House officials. Despite Bongino's absence from work following the incident and Trump's initial anger, the president publicly supported Bondi and reassured the public of unity within his team. Prominent conservative voices, including Marjorie Taylor Greene and Laura Loomer, criticized Bondi for allegedly obstructing the truth about Epstein, fueling speculation about the administration's handling of sensitive information and deepening the divide among Trump loyalists. Trump's dismissive comments about Epstein, coupled with his attempts to downplay the controversy, underscore the ongoing struggle to control the narrative amid persistent demands for transparency from supporters and critics alike. The Toronto Star details President Trump's controversial moment at the FIFA Club World Cup awards ceremony, where he was caught discreetly pocketing a winner's medal before presenting Chelsea with a replica trophy. The incident, captured on video, sparked widespread ridicule, with social media users dubbing it the art of the steal, as Trump appeared to take the medal meant for the champions. Trump later revealed that the medal he kept was a replica, while the actual trophy remained in the Oval Office, gifted to him by FIFA officials. The episode was further marred by Trump's apparent indifference to leaving the stage after handing over the fake trophy, with Chelsea star Cole Palmer expressing confusion at Trump's initial pride and the overall spectacle. This episode exemplifies Trump's penchant for showmanship and the ongoing questions about his respect for international sports traditions, leaving fans and players puzzled by his casual handling of the prestigious award. The Globe and Mail covers the upcoming Senate hearing for Mike Waltz, President Trump's nominee for U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, amid concerns over his past security missteps and the broader context of U.S. engagement with international organizations. Waltz, a former Green Beret and congressman, faces scrutiny over his accidental inclusion of a journalist in a sensitive military planning chat, raising questions about his judgment and suitability for the diplomatic role. Senators from both parties are debating the future of U.S. influence at the UN, with critics warning that Trump's America First policies and significant funding cuts threaten the organization's effectiveness. While supporters praise Waltz's military background and commitment to reform, opponents warn that the UN remains a platform for anti-American bias and geopolitical rivalry, especially amid rising tensions with China and Russia. The confirmation process reflects the larger debate over America's role in global governance and the urgent need for reform in a time of financial strain and geopolitical uncertainty. The Independent reports that Attorney General Pam Bondi abruptly dismissed Joseph Terrell, the Justice Department's ethics chief, in a succinct four-sentence letter that even misspelled his name, amid a broader exodus of career prosecutors during Donald Trump's presidency. Terrell, who had overseen ethical compliance for government officials since 2023, expressed his unwavering commitment to the Constitution despite his sudden termination, which followed Bondi's removal of around 20 DOJ employees linked to investigations into former President Trump. This move has cast a shadow over Bondi's own ethical conflicts, especially considering her past connections with clients like Qatar and Pfizer, raising questions about her motives in the purge. Meanwhile, the DOJ faces turmoil as over 350 attorneys have quit since Trump's election, and the department struggles to manage sensitive investigations such as the Jeffrey Epstein case, which has become a focal point for political and conspiracy-driven scrutiny, further destabilizing the agency's integrity and independence. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.
Lights dim, voices loud, headlines flashing wild. World in a frame and now, stories told, it's time to vow. Eyes glued, truth pursued, understanding woven through. Heartbeats race breaking through, knowledge spreads the new view. Breaking the news, breaking the day, truth and insight our way. Every story, every play, live and clear we convey. Shadows lift, facts unfold, moments chasing, stories told. Heroes, villains, tales of old. In this hour, truth is gold. Depths revealed, voices bright, news in focus, black and white. Every angle sheds some light, morning, evening, through the night. Breaking the news, breaking the day, truth and insight our way. Every story, every play, and clear we convey. Truth and insight our way. Truth and insight our way. Breaking the news, breaking the day, truth and insight our way. Every story, every play, living clear we convey. Every story, every play, and clear we convey. Truth and insight our way. Truth and insight our way. Depths revealed, voices bright, news in focus, black and white. Every angle sheds some light, morning, evening, through the night.